Hello everyone, my name is Skylar Chick and I'm a registered landscape architect and the project landscape architect for the Mount Auburn Street, a Complete Streets project. Welcome to this video where I will provide you an overview of the landscape and streetscape components. Maintaining the experience of the corridor and enhancing that experience are the core of the landscape goals for this project. The existing site is defined by two general landscape conditions that vary between the west end and the east end. The west end is predominantly residential with civic spaces intertwined. There is a lawn strip with tree planting between the sidewalk and the curb, and we want to continue that existing look. Urban meadows are proposed at curb extensions. The east end is mainly commercial areas and denser development. We will extend the sidewalk to the curb at parallel parking. There will be tree pits and curbed planters, which will allow us to continue the tree canopy from the west end through the east end. Overall, we want to improve the streetscape character through consistency of the landscape design. The existing tree canopy is a critical component of the character of Mount Auburn Street. For this project, we want to preserve and protect that canopy. We will conduct selective pruning, which will help to open up views and remove dead and diseased limbs. The existing trees will be reviewed with the Watertown tree warden and the arborist prior to construction, and the contractor will install tree protection. For the planting approach, we want to enhance the existing tree canopy by infilling with new trees. We also want to increase the diversity of the tree species. Diversifying plant species is critical for the longevity of the landscape. We attempt to anticipate future infestations and diseases. By having many different varieties of trees, it can help to limit mass devastation events that target specific tree species, like what we have seen with the emerald ash borer, for instance. We also want to add seasonal interest with flowering species and attractive fall foliage. We must soften the hardscape with landscape for stormwater infiltration and to shade pavements. We also want to encourage habitat for wildlife and pollinator species by creating small urban meadows, and I'll talk a little bit more about those shortly. These next three slides illustrate the proposed planting palette for Mount Auburn Street. This slide shows the proposed shade trees. You can see there's a diversity and a variety of species, different shapes and different fall foliage. Some of that you can see here on the red maples, the ginkgos, the sweet gums, and the sour gum trees. We are also proposing ornamental trees. These are generally smaller trees, and many of them are flowering species like you see in these photos. These are intended to infill below the existing mature canopy throughout the corridor. They would also be used where we have overhead utility wires that cannot be removed. So in that case, we need shorter trees so that the utility companies aren't chopping off the tops of these trees. We want to make sure that we're also adding additional visual interest to this corridor throughout the seasons. And this sheet illustrates the proposed shrubs, perennials, and ornamental grasses for the project. You can see there are a variety of species, colors, textures, a lot of interest here. These are mainly proposed at the urban meadows, which are located at Walnut Street, Lincoln Street, School Street, and Arlington Street. There are also pedestrian gathering areas proposed in Coolidge Square with additional ornamental planting like what you see here. These are all aspects we would love to get more of your feedback on, hear what you like and dislike, tell us about the colors, your experiences on the corridor, and how we might be able to improve the existing vegetation with these new species. We would like to make note of some recent planting examples in Watertown, which happen to be in the Mount Auburn Street area. For instance, at Hazel Street and Howe Street, and the corner of Boylston Street and Chauncey Street near the Hosmer School, are recent urban meadows, which you can see in the images in the lower right. These were constructed as part of a Mass DOT Safe Routes to School project. Also at Boylston Street and Porter Street is another pollinator garden, and recently constructed at Common Street and Spring Street is a bioretention area. These are intended to include a variety of plant material, including native species that are attractive to pollinators like birds, butterflies, and bumblebees. This plan view here illustrates one of our proposed urban meadows. This one is located at the intersection of Arlington Street and Mount Auburn Street, just beside the Sullivan Playground. Here you can see we've incorporated areas of seating with a bench and some tables, and there's a variety of plant material, including trees, grasses and perennials, and shrubs, which not only provide a buffer from the busy street, but also serve to create habitat and to attract wildlife and pollinator species. Placemaking is another important aspect of this project. These include pedestrian gathering areas at intersections with seating, bicycle parking, trash receptacles, planting, and gateway walls. These spaces are highly visible and generally near commercial zones, and there are 3 proposed locations, including the east end of Boylston Street at Mount Auburn Street, Bigelow Avenue, and the intersection of Arlington Street and Grove Street. This plan view here illustrates the intersection of Boylston Street at its eastern end with Mount Auburn Street. Here you can see we have an expanded sidewalk area because we're recouping some of the existing roadway for pedestrian space. We've created a curbed planter, which includes shade trees, shrubs, perennials, grasses, provides a little buffer as well as space for a little seating area with 2 benches. We're also proposing ornamental trees along the edges, as well as a trash receptacle and a bicycle parking post. At the intersection of Bigelow Avenue and Mount Auburn Street, we have another area. This now is in the heart of Coolidge Square. And on the corner facing the intersection, we are proposing a long curved granite wall engraved with the words Coolidge Square. Behind it is a planting area with granite curbing, flowering trees, shrubs. There's a small seating area with granite block benches as well as tables. We also have additional planting on the edges, and there's a bus shelter to accommodate the bus stop, which you can see along Mount Auburn Street here. And this plan view illustrates the corner of Arlington Street and Grove Street. This area is currently part of the existing roadway and will be reclaimed as pedestrian and landscape space for this project. The corner is flanked with another granite wall engraved with Coolidge Square, and the image in the lower left illustrates what that would look like. Here we have another large plant bed, which includes shade trees, ornamental trees, shrubs, flowers, and grasses. We have a small seating area with 2 benches, and the edges along the streetscape consist of a lawn strip and flowering trees. And lastly, the streetscape amenities are another important aspect of our work. We're proposing a consistent palette of site furnishings, including benches, bicycle parking, and trash receptacles. Benches are placed along the corridor to create resting points and are located at bus stops where possible. Bicycle parking is also located frequently at commercial blocks, bus stops, gathering areas, and other destinations. Since this project includes the creation of bike lanes on Mount Auburn Street, we want to make sure that we're providing proper accommodations for bicyclists as well. There are also trash receptacles located at commercial blocks with easy access for both users and maintenance crews. These are images of the proposed site furnishings for this project. You can see there's a black metal strap bench, there's a bicycle parking post, table, and 2 styles of trash receptacles. Type A on the left is a black metal strap variety, which matches the other site furnishings in this corridor and throughout many areas of Watertown. This will be used in lower use areas, but where we still want trash collection. In the lower right image is a solar compaction unit consisting of trash collection on one side and recycling on the other, and these are proposed in the busy commercial blocks. We would like you to join us for a final design open house at the Grousbeck Center at Perkins School for the Blind this coming Tuesday, June 20th from 4 to 7 p.m. The project team will be available to answer questions, and there will be plans and graphics available for viewing. Thank you for your interest in this project. Please visit www.mountauburnstreet.com for additional videos, project information, and details about the open house.